Wolfman hits theaters this weekend, and I don't want to give away too much, but I have to say that it joins Better Man and Monkey Man as one of the most underwhelming superhero movies I've seen in the last year or so. Still, none of them are as bad as Cinderella Man. I don't know what they were doing there. This episode's brought to you by Mando. Go to shopmando.com and use code DAN for a special offer, and stay tuned after the episode for more info. Hello everybody, I'm Dan Murrell here with my review of Wolfman, which, all jokes aside, is not a superhero film. It's the latest take on the classic Universal monster film. Wolfman is from Leigh Whannell, who directed and co-wrote the script. Whannell's last film was 2020's incredibly effective reimagining of The Invisible Man, another Universal monster movie. Possessor's Christopher Abbott stars as Blake, a stay-at-home dad who takes his wife Charlotte, played by Julia Garner, and his daughter Ginger, played by Matilda Firth, to Oregon to clean out his family's old house. But soon after arriving, they encounter a creature in the forest that is part of local legend, and after being scratched by the creature, Blake begins to change into something, well, terrifying. Of course, the movie is called Wolfman, so you can probably guess the general direction that we're going, but we are a long way removed from the time-lapse transformation of Lon Chaney Jr. in the classic original film, or even the great transformation scene of David Naughton in An American Werewolf in London. Here, becoming a werewolf is treated more like a disease that eats away at your body over the course of one very long night. Whannell has cited The Thing and The Fly as major inspirations for the film, and Wolfman carries over that dedication to body horror and practical makeup from both of those films. There are moments where this movie gets gnarly, and the preview crowd that I saw the movie with was eating it up, no pun intended. What Wolfman was missing for me a little bit was the escalation of those movies. Those movies sort of built up to this crescendo of terror and blood and grossness that has made them classics to this day. And I don't think that Wolfman quite has that. I kept waiting for it to kick into that extra gear, and it never really did. But not being able to live up to two stone-cold horror movie classics doesn't mean that this movie is a failure. It's just that with a build-up as gradual as the Wolfman's is, I was hoping that the payoff would be a little bit more satisfying. That doesn't take away from the great practical makeup work done in the movie, nor does it detract from how Whannell portrays Blake's transformation internally. He slowly loses touch with the world around him, which is shown through a combination of lighting and practical effects, a little bit of light CGI. This is a perspective we haven't really seen in a werewolf movie before, the idea of what it looks like almost in real time for this transformation from the inside out, what the person becoming the wolf creature is seeing. And that's why I like that they brought in Leigh Whannell, because he has a great perspective. He brings a very kind of unique energy to his movies. And I think that that does suit something that's as well known as a werewolf story very well. I've really liked Whannell's previous two films, Upgrade and The Invisible Man. And what I liked about The Invisible Man in particular is how it reimagined that story, weaving in new themes and conflicts. Its domestic abuse and gaslighting angle worked perfectly with the original story and concept and turned it into something that stands on its own. Here, Whannell also introduces some new themes. The movie tackles generational trauma in a way that I thought was a little on the nose for a while, and then very, very on the nose. While I think this movie does service to the original concept of guy turns into werewolf, what it doesn't do is to transcend that original premise, and that's something I think that he was able to very successfully do with The Invisible Man. What Whannell still does well, though, is create an atmosphere of dread and suspense. Wolfman doesn't really rely very much on jump scares, just a few effectively placed ones, and instead amps up the paranoia and tension as everybody involved slowly begins to understand exactly what's happening. The internal threat of a guy turning into a werewolf is combined with some external threats, and the movie also tries to add some mythology about what exactly it means to turn into a werewolf, instead of just kind of, pointing to the full moon and going like, it's happening. I'm not that familiar with Christopher Abbott's work, despite seeing a few movies he's been in, including, unfortunately, Kraven the Hunter. But I've heard good things about him in Possessor, and I think that he handles his role really well here, including the ability to act under prosthetics as the movie goes on, which is deceptively hard to do. Julia Garner, who's won 3 Emmys for her work on Ozark, doesn't have a whole lot of chances to stretch beyond the role of the terrified spouse, but I did like that she gives us a bit of a glimpse into who she is going into this situation. A frustrated professional who's worried that her family is slowly drifting away. Stylistically, I don't have much negative to say about the movie. Stéphane Duccio, who shot Upgrade and The Invisible Man with Whannell, also serves as cinematographer on this movie and is able to give us a film that's mostly in the dark that really uses darkness to its advantage, hiding things that are lurking in the shadows. There was one scene that I was watching and thought, wow, I think this is really shot too dark. And then the movie, I think, really cleverly showed why that particular scene was so dark and then used it in an effective way. So that was an example of something that I thought was a negative aspect of the film that it then turned on its head to just further heighten the tension. Wolfman is a Blumhouse production, which means, first of all, that it was responsibly budgeted, reportedly around $25 million, and I think that it packs a lot into that budget. And it's also a tight 90. It's a 90-minute movie, and it doesn't really drag at any point. Yes, the buildup is gradual, but the movie didn't really feel that slow for me. And while I don't think that Leigh Whannell pushed the envelope as much in this movie as he's done in his last 2 previous films, I still found The Wolfman to be a pretty effective suspense thriller with some really good body horror elements as well. My personal rating is kind of on the line between the upper part of it's fine and the lower part of it's good, but the quality of the craftsmanship does push it up into its good territory for me. Wolfman isn't a game changer, but I think that it is definitely a worthy entry into the werewolf canon, and at a minimum is going to give you several yuck moments to think about on your way home. So those are my thoughts on Wolfman. What do you think? Are you going to be heading out to theaters to see it this weekend? Let me know down in the comments below. And before we go, I want to thank the sponsor for this review, Mando. The beginning of a new year is all about leaving things behind, those bad habits, that terrible diet, but you don't want to throw out everything. And one thing that I'm definitely keeping around in 2025 is my Mando whole body deodorant. Mando was one of my favorite discoveries of 2024 because no matter what season it is, if I'm moving around a lot, I'm sweating. So it's good to know that I have the confidence of not having to worry about how I smell, whether I'm building a snowman or mowing the yard under the hot summer sun. Mando's a whole body deodorant that's safe to use absolutely everywhere on your body, even those places you'd rather not talk about, and it's clinically proven to block odor all day and control odor for up to 72 hours. Mando comes in all different forms, solid stick, spray deodorant, and more, and all products are baking soda and paraben free. I use the bourbon leather body wash while I shower and the Mount Fuji solid stick deodorant after because I like to smell like both a jacket and a geographical landmark. But you can mix and match however you want. Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like a mini body wash or deodorant wipes, and free shipping. And as a special offer to listeners and viewers of the show, new customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack. Use code DAN at shopmando.com. That's shopmando.com. And of course, please support the show and tell them that I sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando. Thanks to Mando for sponsoring this review, and thank you for watching. Be sure to stay tuned right here for even more movie news, reviews, box office, and more. Until next time, stay safe, and I'll see you then. Bye.